Hello, everybody. I'm covered up here, even at home, because it is cold outside. But like say, not so long ago, it's recent as it's recent as like 3 years ago. I used to be outside. Actually, no, more recently than that. I was outside the other day, walking around. I mean, the way you sleep, what you eat, if you exercise, makes a big difference in how you deal with the cold weather. If you eat healthy foods with a lot of iron and B vitamins, you have good circulation. And you also need to move around, exercise. Otherwise, you're going to feel cold. You need your circulation. The only way to get that, the best way to get your circulation is to start moving around, do some exercise. It doesn't have to be high intensity. Just move around, move your arms, but more importantly, move your legs and back. They're the most important things to move, your legs and back always. Why? Because that is where your strength lies and your balance lies. You need to practice your balance. A lot of people take it for granted. Oh, I have balance. But when's the last time you tried to just lift one foot off the ground and keep it there for 1 minute? Hey, you see how you start stumbling around. Yeah. Some people are natural at balance, naturally good. More specifically, the athletes. They're very gifted and they're born with a great sense of balance. But for most of us, we have to practice balance. We cannot take it for granted. Hey, how you doing? Bobro, hi, yay! What on this one? Let's greet our friend Bobro. Bobro, let's greet our good friend. So oh, yeah, a little cold, but I'm not complaining because as long as I move around and I have warm-hearted people to talk to, hey, everything good. And as long as the sun comes up, that makes my day. How are you, Bobro? Another thing I want to talk about is how to keep muscle at over 60. Of course, if you are already, like athletic when you were younger in the 20s, like I was always athletic ever since I was a kid. I was like, start out playing baseball, handball. I mean, I used to hit a freaking softball. I didn't have, like hardball baseball because most of the teams weren't available in my neighborhood. They didn't. Hey, hi, thank you, Bobo. Most of the teams when I was a kid, they didn't have hardball baseball. They had softball. There were a lot of softball baseball leagues. There were a lot of businesses, grown men, and they used to go on a field called Sunset Park. So now that field now is AstroTurf, but back when I was a kid, it was just concrete. There were men running. They even were playing tackle, rough tackle football on a concrete field. But the left field was pretty far, like over 300 feet. And I used to hit that baseball with a softball. Boom! At 11 years old, I used to hit the fence was over 300 feet. So I was very good athletically. So I was always into sports. But at 11 years old, I picked up a bodybuilding magazine, and I was like really, really excited. Oh no, not jacked. I wasn't. But at 13, I'll explain. I was a fat kid and skinny arms. My upper body strength and my upper body strength was never great, but my legs, were always in shape because I always did a lot of running around. So my legs always had good strength, and those were the best muscles I've always had. Thank God, are my legs. But my arms and my chest were flat, skinny, and I always had a belly. Always. As a kid, I always had a belly, soft belly. But Hey, hello, Combo. Nice to meet you. Hey, say hello to friend Combo, another guest of ours. Hey, good to meet you, House. Hope your day's good, and I hope the sun came up to you and made you happy. Hey, good, everybody, everyone greeting each other. That makes me happy. It's great to see. But like, and if you start out with sports young, it's good. But I wasn't really into the weightlifting till I seen a bodybuilding magazine, and I also seen a Hercules movie, Steve Reeves, when he had these chains and he pulled down the pillars. I said, "Whoa!" I mean, it was the way he did it. Like he just stood there and he's pulling on these. He has one arm here and one arm to the other side, and he's pulling. I said, "He's never gonna come on. He's never gonna pull a chain and then pull big concrete pillars. It's never. They're not gonna move." But when they started to move, and the way he did it, like with such calm, he wasn't growling like you see the bodybuilders today. "Arr!" He didn't make a sound. Steve Reeves was nice and silent, calmly pull one pillar, okay, you, and now you. And he knocked the whole castle down. And he did it with such calm and confidence. That's what impressed me so much. And the size of his waist was so small. So I started 11 years old, started, you know, I had access to the basement in the building, but the ceiling was only like, I was 5 feet and the ceiling was only 6 feet. It was low ceiling. So I couldn't do a lot of overhead stuff, but I couldn't do a lot of overhead stuff. So I had to make the plates, 10-pound plates. I couldn't use those big plates. So in order to lift anything overhead, I had to use the 10-pound plates. And 11 years old, there I was, trying to lift as much weight as I could over my head. By the time I was 12 years old, I could lift 175 pounds over my head, clean and jerk. Boom, 175. By the time I was 13, I lifted 205 and I weighed 145 pounds. I was the strongest kid in the United States because I looked up the records from other states, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the states, California. They had competitions in the YMCA's, and I lifted more. My lifts more, but not to brag. But yes, at 13. But New York didn't have any, 13, they didn't even want to allow any kids into the gyms. So I managed, so I had to train at home in the basement. By the time I was 15, I was really strong. And my junior high school put on a show where they had a guy on a guitar, bling da ding da ding, and he said, "Introducing the strongest kid in Brooklyn," and it was true, and it was cool. Oh no, well, yeah, no, actually, because at that I seen a doctor when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't, didn't have muscles, wasn't that strong. It's not until I was a teenager that I started to grow. And I wasn't going to the doctor then. I was healthy. I didn't feel any need to go, maybe once in a while, but no. So I wasn't going to the doctor. So I was a teenager. And, but thanks for the comment. And, but yeah, other people told my mom and my dad, my parents, that complimented them for having a strong boy in the neighborhood. Because when I used to go outside, they used to say, "Wow, how did the kid get so strong?" Say, "Well, we feed him good, and he loves this. He loves his exercise. He loves his weights. You know, that's all he talks. And his magazines, he's always reading the bodybuilding and the weightlifting magazines. But one thing I always read about, it's not just the muscles. I read about how to eat. That's what interested me most in the magazines, is the articles on nutrition about clean living, about fresh air. Because you see, where I lived, it was New York, right? It's a lot of pollution. But next to my building, there was a big park, one of the biggest parks in New York, Sunset Park. And I loved, I spent a lot of my time there as a kid. And as a teenager, I used to run around the whole park. It was almost a mile around the park and had hills. And that's how I got my legs strong. I got the stamina. I used to jump up on the walls there, like 6 feet. And then I used to go to the health food store. I used to walk 3 miles to the health food store. I used to buy my vitamins. I used to like natural yeast, honey, natural foods. The way it smelled, it just, it just gave me a smell of nature anyway. It made me feel like I was in the country, and I was in New York. But to be in the park was my happiest moments. And eating, so I used to eat natural, even at, milk, meat, vegetables. And even the cookies were better. There was a store called Irving's Candy Store, and he had these ginger cookies, natural gingerbread cookies, this big. You get 2 for 1 penny, this big. So I used to buy them and had the quarter milk and my gingerbread cookies. And the more I ate them, the stronger I got. Could lift 205 pounds, and I was 13 years old. Gingerbread cookies and milk, yeah. And it worked. No. And the jelly, and they also had jelly with the cookies and the graham crackers. Yeah, the graham crackers. And they had marshmallow on the graham crackers. It was very, very good. And halva bars made out of sesame, tahini. That stuff is, gives you a lot of energy. I used to eat one and then run around the park. Once around, it's almost a mile. I used to run 3 times. So, that gave me some muscle. And I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to ever stop. This is my way of life. But at 19 years old, I hurt my knee. And I said, I'm going to stop weightlifting, because I wanted to be like in a hurry. I wanted to win Mr. Olympia. And I seen that, hey, I wasn't like this big like the guys in the magazine. So I stopped lifting weights at 19. I said, that's it. It's not for me. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to win at bodybuilding. Never. So I stopped lifting. 19 years old to 37. I got fat again, the belly, because I always had a tendency, Bobro and Combo, I always had a tendency to get soft belly. My stomach was always soft, big. My arms small. My shoulders like this, like a girl, like small shoulders. Yeah. 37, I was 214 pounds. And they didn't even want to let me in the restaurants to give me a hamburger. They said, you're too fat. You don't need to eat hamburgers, French fries. Look at you. Get in the back of the line. I said, that's it. I said to myself, oh, thank you. I said to myself, thank you, Bobro. But can you imagine, Bobro, a lady in the McDonald's telling you to get back in the line because you already ate too much, you're already too fat? I was embarrassed. Everybody heard her. Everybody's seen her. So I said, you know what? I'm never going to come back to this McDonald's. Yeah, but she said that was, that was back in the 90s. A lot of things happened. It's New York City. So that was New York City. So I said, I'm going to go out. No more McDonald's. I went to the health food store. I bought a protein bar, and there was a scaffold. I ate the protein. I started to, I can only do 5 pull-ups. I said, oh my goodness. So I said, 3 times a week, I'm going to go to the scaffold. I was walking 7 miles a day as a messenger. Fat, my feet were killing me. My feet were like raw meat. Every time my feet hit the floor, it felt like needles going in. So I went on a diet. I would just eat. This is what I would eat. In the morning, I would have the protein bar, some coffee, walk all day on making deliveries, New York. When I get back home at 8 o'clock at night, I used to do push-ups and body weight squats. So what you do is push-up, and then I used to lie down on the floor, bend my knees and do leg raise, and then body weight squats. You could say almost like Hindu squats, because I was doing them when I was a kid. I mean, not when I was a kid, when I was 37, trying to get back in shape. So anyway, everything was going good. And then I was making a delivery, and boom, a big piece of roof fell on my back. Now, a lot of people say, that's incredible. How can that happen? Someone up there, the divine intervention, made sure that piece of metal and wood did not hit my head, because I wouldn't be here talking. I wouldn't be alive. It almost crippled my back. It almost broke my back. And even today, my back still hurts from that. It changed my spine, and it hurt my spine, damaged my thoracic spine for life. It's hard for me to straighten out. But I wasn't going to let that stop me, because I just started with the exercise. I had to take off that weight, and not only that, I noticed that I can walk more if I lost the weight. Well, thank you very much, Bobro. It was rough because in New York, a lot of people bump into you, and my back was devastated. But I had to continue working. I had to pay my rent. If I didn't, it came out a bad time. I owe the rent to the landlord 2-3 months. I had to work 2-3 jobs. Sometimes I come home at 10 o'clock at night. I start out 7 o'clock all the way to 10 o'clock. It was hard, but that made me not want to quit. And when I lost the weight, I started to actually get stronger, because if you're 200 pounds and you're doing the pull-ups, 5 times not a lot, but you're pulling up 200 pounds. And the more I practiced, I got to 15 times, and my arms just got bigger because I was so heavy, and doing the pull-ups, more pull-ups, my arms and shoulders responded. And I was doing a lot of leg raises for my stomach, but I was doing them with a board under my back. It kind of lifted my butt off the ground. So it's like my back wasn't on the floor. It was like this elevated, and it made it easier to do the leg raise. And I had to bend my legs. I couldn't do the leg raise straight because it hurt my back. But when I lost all that weight, in 6 months, I weighed 190 pounds. And then eventually it went down to 175. And I started to feel better, but my back still hurt. But it was easier to walk and avoid all those people trying to bump into me. But I still wasn't lifting weights. You have a great day, man. Thank you very much, Bobro. Really great talking to you. But then in 2000, I started lifting weights, and I was already 39 at that time. The year 2000, I bought 100-pound weights. I had to pick it up at the store in City Hall. I wrapped a rope and I dragged it into the subway. No hand truck. I dragged it down the stairs, almost fell down. I actually pulled it into the service. They didn't have a service gate. They had the door. So you put the money in the turnstile, you walk around. I opened the door and I pulled the box of weights. I pulled it down the steps, and then the train went straight to where I lived. But once I got to the station, I had to, in my neighborhood, Sunset Park, I had to drag that box up 2 flights of stairs. But I broke open the box, and I took the weights little by little. I ran up the stairs because I didn't want anyone to take those weights. But then when I got outside with the weights, I lived on Fifth Avenue and the subway station was on Fourth Avenue. So I had to drag all those weights, 100 pounds, up a steep hill from Fourth Avenue to Fifth Avenue. And then when I got to my apartment building, I lived on the top floor. So I had to carry all those weights upstairs. And I said to myself, after all that hard work, I'm going to use these weights. I, I almost I almost hurt myself really bad just getting the weights to my apartment. Can you imagine my bad back? I said, if I went through all that hard time to get these weights home, I'm going to use them. And I used them. Yes. By 2001, my arms got even bigger. It's mostly my arms and my legs that responded, my thighs. And of course, I was still doing the yogurt because my stomach didn't handle other things. I've always had very bad stomach problems since 98. No, since 93, I had stomach problems. I had like a bad sandwich in a deli and my stomach was never the same. I went to doctors and I asked them, could it be like a bacteria or something? And they never addressed the issue. They never did the test for bacteria in my body. So to this day, I'm not sure what's going on in my intestines that does not allow me to eat a lot of food. Hey, how you doing, Rab? Rab, nice to see you. Yeah, the meal preps, I'm not a big eater, you know. In fact, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of access to the kitchen here. I live with somebody, and I don't have access to the kitchen. They mostly use the kitchen. Um, what I mostly eat is this. I eat the same thing all the time: peas, carrots, broccoli, some cheese, or some eggs, and that's it. Yeah. So, right. So on the days that I don't, do I don't do a lot of meal prep. This foods, Rob, I make things that are easy to get in and out of the kitchen. I just throw some vegetables in a pot, to heat them up for 1 or 2 minutes, and I can have them with my cheese. I fry the eggs really low heat so I don't overcook the eggs because you can't like overcook the egg yolk till it gets dry. You're destroying all the nutrients, all the vitamins in the egg. So I soft cook the egg yolk so it's still almost liquid. That's very important. I also soft cook the egg white just till it gets a little solid. So I only cook the egg wrap till it gets a little solid. I scoop it out and then I have it. But besides that, I eat some almond milk yogurt or cashew yogurt, and I like having that with a little almond butter and low fat or fat free cottage cheese. I also drink liquid egg whites. I also drink a lot of liquid egg whites. I spend a lot of money on that because it's expensive, but like it's the only protein that I can have. I don't eat beef. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat fish. I mean, I became like that way since moving here to the country. I love the animals. And I look at the cow and I look at him and he looks at me back. I say, I could never hurt that cow. Never in my life. Never. I pass by Five Guys restaurant. I pass by all these other restaurants and juicy burgers, and I say, wow, that looks good. But I said, I would have to hurt that cow, that beautiful cow that looked at me in the eye like this. I can never do it. So I don't eat the beef. I don't eat the chicken. And the chickens, I love the chickens too. The fish, I love the fish. It's the way it became. I guess that's when you get old age, you get sentimental. Yeah, it's true, Rob. You have a good point there. That's true. It keeps me disciplined. I love broccoli. I put basil and I put parsley flakes. Yeah, it's true. I don't eat a lot of broccoli though. I have to boil it to like it's well. it's a little crisp. It's important that the broccoli be a little crunchy, but I don't eat a lot. I can't eat it a lot, and I don't eat the broccoli every day. Maybe once every other day, because you're right. Yeah, it could be harsh. It could stays in your system, but that's not a lot of protein for me. Like 100 grams a day. You know, you hear this: eat 1 gram per pound of body weight. That would mean I would be eating 175 grams. You know, bodybuilding, they say eat even more than a gram, but I can't do that. You know, when I was competing in bodybuilding, when I gotta erase this thing. Do you take pill or protein I take whey protein powder, but I can like get into all, you know, it would be topic of another video because a lot of whey proteins, a lot of protein powders are not natural. What I mean is that if you take a protein, the protein powder, if you take milk and you overcook it, you're destroying the protein. So a good protein powder has to be something called undenatured, which means they don't use a heat process. They take the milk and they extract it through a filter, a mesh called microfiltered. That retains something called protein fractions. What are protein fractions? They're the growth factors. They're what makes the cow grow. When you heat the milk, you destroy that. Do you know, Rob, that they have thousands of pounds of protein factors? Yes, of what they call the protein fractions. It's comes from the milk, and they store them in nice big canisters. They actually use this in hospitals, but they have thousands of pounds of these protein fractions of this valuable milk nutrients stored in containers that in factories that they do not use. They're I could tell you that they had this the most abundant protein in your blood is called, I don't want to get too technical, globulins. Globulins are the protein, what your blood is made out of. It's also what your liver is made out of. It's your body needs those globulins to fight infections and everything. So the milk naturally contains this, but it cannot be overheated because it destroys it. So a lot of the powders are not really, don't work. But that's a subject I have to get into detail, and I can explain in more detail. But I do take one. I try to, I don't take a lot of it because that too, I don't take a good one, the best one. It's between a good one and it's not so good because I can't afford it. A good protein powder costs too expensive, $80. I can't afford that. So I don't take a lot of protein powder to be pills. I take a lot of different herbs. I take ashwagandha. I take stinging nettles. I take sometimes I take maca. I take rhodiola. I know a lot about herbs. I studied a lot about herbs. And thanks to herbs, I could get more energy. Turmeric, yeah, not a lot because I have a sensitive, stomach, and the turmeric affects my stomach, so I don't really take turmeric. I take something called fenugreek. In Indian culture, it's called methi powder. Methi powder, METHI, methi powder. It helps with my energy, with my strength, my vitality. And supposed to put it in food, but me, I'm crazy. I take a little bit, I heat up the water, I put it and I drink it like that. I put a little almond milk with the methi powder, fenugreek, and I make a tea and I drink it. And these things help give me energy and strength. So, over 60, many people say, so how do you get the muscles? Well, wait, I want to show you. I'm 63 now. But when I was 47, actually 47 years old, I want to show you a picture. That's me when I was 47 years old. And I was one of the top natural bodybuilders in the world. Yes, I competed in natural bodybuilding competitions where they tested you. Now, a lot of people say that the tests don't work, but I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on the, testing. So I didn't want to take any chance. Only food, only natural vitamins. That's all I took. And that's how I got. And that is from Musclemania, New York City. It's in New York City, but the competition invites international athletes. I was competing against Dickens Lambert, who was the best natural bodybuilder in the whole world. Dickens Lambert. I think I have some pictures. I think I have some pictures here for you. If you like to see, Rob, from the competition. Wait a minute. I want to show you the good pictures because I have some pictures. The photographer took some pictures and they turned out orange. I look like a carrot. But I got some other better pictures. I got some better pictures I wanted to show you. Okay, so that was from first time you see I won my first bodybuilding competition, also New York City Musclemania. And that was my friend over there. And I'm going to take off this hat. So let me see if I can find a picture, a good picture. I want to show you a good picture here. Oh, here, this is a good picture. This, okay. Hello there. So I got to